Two topics of conversation on today's episode of Denton's Office. One, why Jayden Daniels is already locked up Rookie of the Year. And two, fighter jets for a stadium? Step into my office. Welcome into Denton's Office. I don't have much. I got a microphone and I got a whiteboard. And only important people have whiteboards. It's your favorite Commanders YouTube show here on the Team 980's YouTube page. We're going to get into why Jayden Daniels is already locked up Rookie of the Year on the offensive side of the football. But first, the big story, a story that felt like Sam Fortier of the Washington Post was hacked when he tweeted this thing out. On Tuesday, he tweeted a snippet of his reporting, and he does a fantastic job with this stuff, suggesting that Maryland would be okay with giving D.C. the RFK site and allowing the stadium to come back to the city for fighter jets. Yes, fighter jets. Like this is Call of Duty. Like we're firing up modern warfare. I know that's an old reference. I don't care. But we're firing up modern warfare and you just got a 13 kill streak for your AC-130. They're asking for fighter jets. It looked like when Sam Fortier posted this tweet, your craziest fantasy draft on steroids. Fighter jets. I couldn't believe it. I want the stadium to come back to DC. Been very clear about that. In that RFK site is the best spot for that stadium. However, when you bring fighter jets into the conversation, it is a red flag. It's not an orange flag. It is a red flag, sirens going off, pun intended. And you're like, why do y'all want fighter jets? I don't know a lot. I am confident and mature enough to say that. However, I know fighter jets only really do one thing. And unless you are a gluttonous creator that loves to collect things, fighter jets, they fight. They got me looking like Dave Bautista in this bitch. They fight. I'm a Virginia guy. I have never lived on the Maryland side of things. Respectfully, y'all are weird. Hence the fact that you want fighter jets. So my big question is, what are y'all going to use fighter jets for? Outside of the world of sports, I don't talk about this often. I probably won't again. It's kind of weird out there. It's a little hostile. Got me thinking, like, hey, whoa, fighter jet. Hey, like, what do y'all do with fighter jets? Like, if I'm driving in Maryland, and y'all Maryland drivers, blinkers are optional for y'all. Y'all just kind of swerve all over the place. If I get cut off by one of y'all, is the fighter jet going to know that you cut me off? Or am I going to be the one that's on the receiving end? And am I going to get wrecked? Like, what are fighter jets used for? They're used for fighting. So why do you want fighter jets? This could end up being, I hope it's not, this could end up being the craziest trade in human history if DC trades its stadium for fighter jets. And then if things go sideways outside of the realm of sports, you end up getting wrecked by those fighter jets. I don't know if I'll be alive to see that in the history books, because if that's happening, something is clearly not going well. But if I am, that's going to be a weird thing to read about. Now, Sam Fortier did tweet later that day about how actually, Maryland wanted other stuff too. They want to know, what are you going to do with the Northwest stadium site, maybe a museum for fighter jets. You're going to have some fighter jets. What are we going to do with it? Like financial stuff? Yeah. You're not pulling the wool over our eyes this time, buddy. You want fighter jets. That is the lead of the story. They want jets. Like jets for a stadium. I still want RFK back though. So if it comes down to it, I would trade the jets. I would trade the jets. Just please don't attack me if one of your drivers cuts me off. Now let's get to some football. and why Jayden Daniels has already locked up Rookie of the Year, despite this tweet from Bleacher Report. You're not pulling one over on us, you silly geese. So, here are the numbers so far. This is through 13 games as a team. I think that team element of it is very important because we know Jayden played one series against Carolina, whereas Bo Nix got an entire game against Carolina. But right now, these are the two favorites. If you love Brock Bowers, I like Brock Bowers too. But let's be honest, this award is going to a quarterback, and it's going to the one that is already won all of the Rookie of the Weeks. Not actually all of them, but like basically all of them. Jayden Daniels is more likely than not going to at least tie Ben Roethlisberger's record of 9 Rookie of the Weeks in a season, but there's a very high chance that he is going to break that depending on how the final 5 games for Washington ends up going. But here are the numbers as we sit here. Jayden is a minus 270 favorite compared to Bo Nix, who is plus 240. I would tell you as a gambler, if you are going to make a bet on either of these two guys now, you're going to go for Bo Nix. However, don't do that because he's not going to win. Jayden's going to win. Jayden has 2,819 passing yards with 15 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And again, that's through 12.1 games compared to Bo Nix, who has 2,842 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, 2 of which he threw on Monday Night Football. That is something that I feel is important. More numbers. Jayden is throwing at a nearly 70% completion percentage. 69, nice, 0.6 completion percentage with a 71.8 QBR. Jayden's biggest attribute right now, aside from his athleticism, has been his remarkable efficiency. Even with the slump that were the 3-game losing streak against Pittsburgh, where he did not complete, I think it was 50% of his passes, 17 to 34. The game against Philadelphia, which stunk. And then the game against Dallas, which nearly gave me a heart attack on multiple different occasions. Even in spite of that, Jayden has a QBR of 71.8. Now, if you compare that to Bo Nix, completion percentage-wise, he's about a full 6 points. Just shy of a full 6 points of completion percentage lower than Jayden, but the QBR is the big one. He's nearly 20 points lower in QBR than Jayden Daniels is, and the people that vote for these awards nowadays are dorks, and they love the QBR rating. On top of that, Jayden's a better runner, 108 carries, 590 yards, 6 touchdowns compared to Bo Nix's 67 carries, 304 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Bo Nix is definitely a better runner than he gets credit for. I think Sean Payton has done a wonderful job, especially in the early portion of the season, getting Bo Nix involved in the run game, but he is never going to be on Jayden Daniels' level as a runner. This is one of the biggest strong suits of Jayden's game. He has incredible athleticism, and he is remarkably efficient. He's broken a couple of records already. He's the first rookie quarterback in NFL history to throw for 2 touchdowns and rush for a touchdown in back-to-back games. Bo Nix has done that 0 times this year because he's never rushed for a touchdown in back-to-back games. He's the only quarterback to have an 80% completion percentage and throw 3 touchdowns and rush for a touchdown in a single game as a rookie. Bo Nix has had an 80% completion percentage and thrown for 4 touchdowns, but he did not rush for a touchdown. He did that against Atlanta, who Jayden Daniels is going to play later on this season. I don't know if you've watched the Atlanta Falcons this year. Defensively, they suck. Might be Michael Penix quarterbacking against Jayden Daniels, though. Sorry to the Kirk guys. Jayden's also one of the only rookie quarterbacks in NFL history to have 3+ games with an 80% completion percentage. Bo Nix has done that once. It was that game in Atlanta. Now, it's important to really emphasize that game for Bo Nix as far as his sake in this conversation, because that game is what really catapulted him into the conversation. He'd been playing well, but when you have the kind of performance he did against Atlanta, where Denver goes in and just completely beats the brakes off of them, and your young rookie quarterback goes for 4 touchdowns with an 80% completion percentage, that is going to draw a lot of attention. It was a hell of a football game. But really where Jayden separates himself, if you are more than just a numbers person, is the moments. Now, if you've watched this show before, I had this conversation when Jayden was in the MVP conversation. Better days. Better days. Team was 7-2, winning a lot. It was great. But in that conversation, the thing that separated Jayden Daniels from a guy like a Lamar Jackson, or at the time, a guy like a Josh Allen, was the moments that he has created. On Monday Night Football, he delivers that throw over the top to Terry McLaurin for the game-winning touchdown. He gave you the Hail Mary, which was one of the most viewed social clips in the NFL's history. They were dominating in the viewership with that particular play. So even though that wasn't on national television, you got to see that every single way that you had consumed media over the next 2, 3, sometimes even 4 days. So Jayden's given us moments. Where Bo Nix has fallen short is there are none of those. They just played on Monday Night Football, and the biggest takeaway was Jameis Winston and the pick sixes and him asking the Lord to deliver him from pick sixes. I'm not suggesting that Bo Nix has to be Jameis Winston personality-wise. That's incredibly tough to do. Jameis is a one-of-a-kind guy. But that game was not a Bo Nix went and won them a football game kind of game. It was the fact that Jameis Winston threw 2 interceptions that happened to be taken back. He actually threw 3, but he threw 2 interceptions that were taken back to the house. And Bo Nix also threw 2 interceptions in that game, which is why I bring up that tweet that Bleacher Report had put out after the game asking, did Bo Nix lock up Rookie of the Year? You'll notice they did not have the interceptions on that tweet. Can we be objective? Jeez Louise. Jayden gives you moments where Bo Nix has not done that yet. And I think Bo Nix is a hell of a player. Sean Payton, by the way, was 100% right on Bo Nix. That was the most polarizing pick outside of Michael Penix because of the Kirk Cousins thing. Although, again, we might see Michael Penix the way that Kirk Cousins played this past weekend against Los Angeles. Yet still, it's Jayden that is the Rookie of the Year. And the fact that these odds are close might be great for Vegas because you're going to have people jumping in on Bo Nix at plus 240. But again, I would encourage you, don't. He's not going to win. Jayden is going to win. He is the one that is going to win Rookie of the Year. It would feel the most ridiculous if this dude ties or breaks that Roethlisberger 9 Rookie of the Weeks in a singular season and then loses the award. Wouldn't make any sense. It's Jayden or bust when it comes to Rookie of the Year. And hopefully, both these teams who are on track at the moment will be squaring off against their own separate conferences in the postseason. They're 8-5. They're 8-5. That should matter in this conversation as well. You're having 2 rookie quarterbacks that are also winning football games, which is maybe one of the reasons why that number is closer to this than it was a couple of weeks ago. I'd also point out that Denver's defense, I mean, God, if Washington had that defense, oh my God, this team would be 10-2, 10-3, whatever it is, 11-2. Oh my God, that defense is maniacal. They're so good. Anyway, is Jayden Daniels for Rookie of the Year? He's locked it up. Guaranteed. Now, thank you for stepping into my office. We talked about a great rookie quarterback and fighter jets. Seems like the perfect concoction for you two. Thanks for coming by. Now, respectfully, get out.